My name is Aram COF and my topic is PEDs. PEDs are performance-enhancing drugs and they're used by athletes in all sports. Let me give you general information on PED. PEDs have been present since the 1800s, but they have been significantly used starting in the 1960s. In the 1960s, they were used in a source called caffeine, and they originally banned that in 1970, and reassured that they could use it again in the 1980s. But starting in the 1980s, other sources of PEDs were starting to be used, and throughout the 1990s to present time, PEDs have gone out of control and have been banned throughout all sports. My main claim is access to PEDs has a substantial positive impact on sports. And my supporting claims are, number one, it improves fan base and proceeds. Number two, PED extends the life of a player in the sport. And number three, PED improves record-breaking performances in all sports. Going back to the first one, improving fan base and proceeds. One general example of this would be Lance Armstrong, who is a bicyclist, and his career started in the early 1990s, and he was not well known, but after he started taking performance-enhancing drugs, he won 7 straight Tour de France's from 1999 to 2005. And his fan base increased because of the fact that no one knew who he was, and when he started taking these drugs, he also was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And with his proceeds that he earned, he did good with his brand called Livestrong. And Livestrong was a brand that he put up because of his diagnosed with testicular cancer. Another one would be the proceeds. In early 1994, a test was done to see how much money was put in, how much each team for baseball was worth. And in the early 1990s, 1994 to be exact, each baseball team was worth $140 million. But with the use of PEDs in each team, the proceeds went up to almost $332 million in 2004. Also, proceeds were valid and present in players as well, and with an average of $12 million of increase in each person's salary because of the use of PEDs. The second claim is that PED extends the life of a player in the sport. One example will be Tam Thompson, a 27-year-old powerlifter who was in powerlifting, and she could not do well and she couldn't compete well. And she would always come up last in the championships, and she wanted to quit. But then she found out that she could take PEDs to improve her game. She started taking PEDs with 1 dosage, 2 dosage, 3 dosage, and increasing her dosage. As the dosage increased, she realized that it was making a big effect on her game. And because of taking PEDs, instead of quitting that same week after losing the championships, she extended her powerlifting career for almost 2 decades. Another one would be Alex Rodriguez, who was a baseball player who was originally signed by Seattle, played almost 5 years in Texas Rangers, and then finally ended his career with the New York Yankees. Alex Rodriguez was originally a high school prospect, and everybody knew he was going to be good. But nobody knew how good he was going to be and why he was going to become so good. So after his short career in Seattle, he started playing with Texas. And throughout the years of 2001 to 2003, he started taking the performance-enhancing drugs. While taking this, he started hitting almost 50 home runs a year. And by this, he signed a 10-year, $252 million deal, which was a record-breaking deal. And nobody knew exactly why he was doing so good, but after his retirement in 2000, after his hearing for PEDs, he admitted that through the years of 2000 to 2003, he was taking performance-enhancing drugs. This extended his career by almost 5 to 6 years. The third one would be PED improves record-breaking performances. One of these people would be Marion Jones, who is an Olympian and a runner. And no one knew who Marion Jones was, and she had competed in other championships but never actually did so well. But after she took PEDs, in the 2000 Olympics, she got 3 gold medals. She got 3 gold medals. One of them was in the 100 meters. The second one was in the 200 meters, and the third one was in the 4x400 relay. And also 2 bronzes, one in the long jump and one in the 4x100 relay. So it's obvious that by taking these kind of by taking PEDs, it improves their performance, and they just. The second one would be Barry Bonds. Everyone knows who Barry Bonds is. He played for San Francisco Giants for almost 10, 12 years, and he was always a good player too. But how good was he without his PEDs? While he was taking his PEDs, he got 7 MVPs and hit 762 career home runs. These numbers are almost impossible nowadays because of how good the pitchers are and how good the game has become. And because of the fact that he took these performance-enhancing drugs, his abilities were much better and much more obvious, because the pitchers would not be able to pitch towards his hitting. And because of this, he hit 762 career home runs. So, coming back to my claims, it is obvious that PEDs does have a substantial positive impact on sports. And this is because of the improvement in fan base, the extension of the player's life in the sport, and the record-breaking performances. Thank you.
Okay, well, the proposition is laid out fine, and the secondary issues are also structured. I think in the body of the speech, though, you lose that structure a little bit, and I think material ran together a lot more than you wanted it to. You help yourself, excuse me, you help yourself at the end of the presentation by having a good summary of what those points were, so I thought that was useful as well. The evidence is the place where I think you've got a problem. You've got lots of examples, and that's fine. You need to give us source citations on those examples, for instance, but I think that you're attributing performance to their consumption of the PEDs, and I think that's okay, but there are a couple of places where you're making inferences about the PEDs, for instance, on the value of the baseball teams. Why you believe the doubling of the value in the 10 years is due to performance-enhancing drugs is not clear to me. That seems to be an awfully big leap in logic. The Lance Armstrong thing, you know, the fact that he won the 7 championships in a row, I think that's a dramatic, indication of how somebody can perform well with the PEDs. The question, though, is why is this a good thing for the sport? Did it draw more people to the sport than there were before? It certainly drew him more fans because he was winning. But of course, if you're winning by cheating, then the argument goes that you've got an advantage over other people that is not a reflection of your ability, but is a reflection of the chemistry shop that you happen to be visiting. And I think that you need to tell us why that doesn't matter, or, for instance, if all things were equal and everybody had access to PEDs, that you would still have gotten these particular kinds of outcomes. I think there's a big presupposition in here that says that it's okay because these people had achievements that other people didn't get the same opportunity who played by the rules. So, for instance, you mentioned Marion Jones, but I don't have any idea about all the people that she beat, whether or not they were taking PEDs also. If they were taking PEDs also and that improved the sport entirely, then I think your argument's strengthened a little bit. I thought you did a pretty good job, like I said, summarizing at the end, and a good exit. All right, thank you.